It's Monday, March 7th, and you're listening to the Geek News Central podcast, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Everyone, this is show number 653, and boy, oh boy, I've been running around here like a chicken with my head cut off. It's been crazy. It's just, it is what it is, but I got a great show lined up for you. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Todd Cochran, and I want to encourage you to get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content over there. Just, I was totally running late. Things have been crazy here. Didn't even get to finish my Red Bull. Yes, my traditional one Red Bull per show treat. So, I guess I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball. But for all of you that are new to the show, I want to welcome you. It's usually not this hectic around here, but welcome to the Geek News Central podcast. And I hope that you'll get subscribed to the show. You can do that by subscribing to the show via the second column of the website. There's some links there to subscribe via the RSS feed or via iTunes or Zoom Marketplace. We really want you to get subscribed. That way you'll never miss a single episode of the podcast. I produce the show every Monday and Thursday night. It's released Tuesday and Friday morning Eastern Standard Time. So my encouragement to you to come on and get subscribed to the show. You also want to get subscribed to the newsletter. The newsletter will contain everything that I'm going to talk about during the show. And the newsletter has all the links and all the information you need to stay abreast of what's going on. You'll find the newsletter link at the very top of the website at geeknewscentral.com. Of course, we want to welcome listeners from 182 countries worldwide, listeners and viewers. And, of course, for those of you that are watching either live right now on Justin.tv or on Ustream, I want to welcome you to the show. And, of course, those of you that are watching post-show, either on the Boxy or on the Roku, we want to welcome you as well. So if you have comments on today's show, geeknews@gmail.com. Geeknews@gmail.com is the email address where you can send comments about anything that we've covered. Anything that you want me to cover, really, that's what it's all about. And if you have voice comments you want to make, if you want to call into the show, you can dial 619-342-7365. That's 619-342-7365 to get me dialed in and let me know what your thoughts are and give me a shout out. We definitely appreciate it. Of course, I want to thank GoDaddy.com for being a longtime sponsor here at the show. And GoDaddy is really a great place to go to find domain names, dedicated servers, virtual dedicated servers, shared hosting accounts, you name it. And this CES25 25% off code on your first order at GoDaddy.com is still valid. The clock is running on this one, folks, okay? So I don't know when it's going to cancel, but it's going to cancel soon. So if you want to use the CES25 code, get over to GoDaddy.com and use that. Now, of course, there's a whole bunch of codes for existing customers as well. So if you got a product that you want to pick up or you're renewing something, all you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, and you'll find a full list of all my codes. Geek5 will save you 15% on orders $20 or more. Todd20 will save you 20% on a 1-year shared hosting account. Of course, Todd will save you 10% on non-domain orders. And a whole bunch of codes are ComSale 2 for .com purchases and .com renewals. Aloha, you can get $20 off any order of 75 or more. Just a huge, huge number of codes. No one has more. No one's going to save you more money than the Geek here at Geek News Central. So thanks to GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor, and I want to thank all of you for your continued support of them as well. Boy, oh boy, what's going on? Before we get into the tech content, let me go through just a couple of items here that I have on my catch you up on list. Tomorrow morning, my niece, for those of you that remember in 2006 when I lost my dad, my niece was with him in that horrible accident. Of course, 5 years later, she is still really in recovery mode. And tomorrow, she goes through one of the most major surgeries she's been subjected to in a very, very long time. They're doing a very serious procedure to her left leg. She's never been able to regain full extension of that. So they're going to reposition a kneecap. They're going to do some stuff to the ankle. They're going to do some stuff to the muscle. And not only that, on the right leg, because the right leg has grown faster than the left leg, they're going to basically stop the leg from growing any further. And this is a significant deal because they need that left leg to catch up because it's a couple inches behind. And the doctors feel this is the only chance they've got to, get the legs evened out before they'd have to go to a much more serious procedure, which we hope that she'll never have to have. But anyway, so she's going to the knife tomorrow morning. And so for those of you that catch the show early enough, your thoughts and prayers are appreciated. Along with that, of course, she's under expert care. My sister has done due diligence of making sure that they found the right surgeon, interviewing many, looking at, my sister really went through the litany of making sure they got the right doc, and she is assured that she does have the right doctor, and multiple doctors say he's the one to do it. So tomorrow morning is the day, and we'll be on pins and needles here until she's in recovery. Son's back from Maui. Had a great trip. He was over there doing some stuff with his class orchestra. Had a great time. Came back grumpy because he didn't sleep and partied with his friends too hard. And now he's only 13, so it wasn't like it was a real party. But you know how 13-year-olds can be when they're away from the house and in a hotel with a bunch of other boys and girls. I'm sure they had a lot of fun. Tomorrow, I do the march to the accountant office and get the final tally on personal and business taxes. So I'm not looking forward to that trip. Taking a checkbook in hand, it's going to be ugly, I'm sure. But, hey, got to pay the man, right? PowerPress. We launched PowerPress 2.0 today. I'm really excited about what we've been able to accomplish here. Angela spent about 30 days really getting it ready. And it's ready. It's on the street. I put up a blog post at Geek News Central talking about all of the big items that we covered. I've even got an 8-minute video that you can watch that really outlays some of the cool stuff. And so if you haven't checked that out, please do. And I had a lot of fun doing this little short take video. But you guys have already been experiencing it on Geek News Central on what it brings to the table. And as I want to remind you, of course, when you are coming over the website, and if you see something cool with the show, you can take the embed with you and share it with other folks. We had a number of people that shared the embed. And Tom Newman was the first. And I want to congratulate Tom Newman for sharing. Basically, he took the embed from the last show, posted it up on another site, and was the first one to respond to that. So, Tom, you can go over to the Ohana store and pick yourself out a polo shirt, and I'll pay for that. Just send me the link and the size to the one that you want, and anyone can go over to get Geek News Central gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store, and you can pick up your free prize over there, Tom. Thanks for sharing the embed. So tonight, what I'm going to do tomorrow, when the show is up, when the new show is up, wait till it goes up online, okay? Because the video comes up about 4 or 5 hours later. Just take the embed from the show. If you put it on another site and share it, email me, and I'll get you a prize on the next show as well. So we're going to continue this on for a couple of weeks. We're going to let you guys have fun with it. But I want to thank Tom Newman over at Fogview Podcast for his participation, and of course the other ones as well. So the first person to respond is actually going to get that now, but you have to kind of be watching the website when I put the new video up. Along with that, we're going to start a new contest tonight. We are going to give away a Roku, and we'll give a top-of-the-line Roku away, not the cheap one. I think the most expensive one is $79 or $99. So what we'll do is a week from today, we're going to give away the Roku, and the only thing you have to do is to qualify is either become an insider, already be an insider, or to contribute at least a minimum of $10 to the show. I'll have a link up in where you can do that. So again, we're going to run this again. We had a great response from the last promotion that we did. We're going to try this a few times a month, and we're going to give that Roku away. So there'll be information on how you can contribute to the show to get qualified. Remember, if you're already an insider, become an insider, or contribute a one-time at least $10 to the show, will put you in the contest to win a Roku. All right, what else is on my stack here? Saturday morning, boy, oh boy, the Saturday morning tech show. Wow, was all ready to go. Of course, I wake up here about 5 a.m. I get a shower, get a bite to eat, get some coffee in me, come to the studio, get the studio all fired up. Everything was running. Had all my stuff laid out on what we were going to do on Saturday morning tech show. I had scheduled Adrian Bacon from quicksurf.com. He was coming on board, and also Angelo Mandato from Raw Voice was coming on. We were actually going to go through all the PowerPress stuff, and we ran into a big problem. Adrian called in. We were good to go on Skype, and the Geekosaurus back here, and or Hanosaurus, excuse me, and Angelo called in, and he could not hear us. We could hear him, but boy, oh boy, it went downhill from there, and something, we don't know what, because I tried to work it for about 30 minutes, and I said, okay, guys, forget it. We'll walk away from it for today, and we'll come back to it. And I basically worked on the system for a while and really couldn't figure it out. I was disgusted, and I was mad. I was very angry because I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I shut everything down, and I got some breakfast and talked with my wife and cooled off and came back in here and turned on the mixer board, and it cleared everything. So whatever it was in the mixer board. Some relay or something got stuck. And but anyway, so I called Adrian and said, hey, you still want to do a morning tech show? It's like 3 hours late. He says, yeah, well, I'll do one. And Angelo was out shopping with his wife, so we couldn't do anything with him. So we recorded it anyway. So it's up and online for you to check out. I got some good suggestions on Audible, and a number of them came in. I really appreciate the input. And I think the one I like best actually, again, came from Tom Newman. He said, hey, Tada, you were asking about an Audible pick on your last show. My pick is iWoz. I think you and I have similar electronic backgrounds, and I enjoyed hearing about Woz's early electronic adventures. I also thought the early Apple history was interesting, too. I wasn't sure I would like the book at first. It brought me back, but it brought back my early electronic and computer days. He says, I remember seeing Steve at the Homebrew Computer Club in Palo Alto showing off a gunfighter game on the soon-to-be Apple I computer, Tom. So, Tom, I took your advice, and I went ahead and queued up, and I bought with my credit, I picked up iWoz, so I'll be starting to enjoy that here soon. And you can get a free trial on me, folks. If you want to get an Audible book and give it a try, all you got to do is go to audiblepodcast.com/CES, and you get a free audiobook on me. And really, it's the best way. You get a free 14-day trial, and you get one free book on me. You don't have to do anything else. You can cancel afterwards if you want, but I think you're going to enjoy it so much that you'll continue to stay subscribed, and we appreciate those of you that have picked up an Audible account because of the show here. All right, let me go ahead here and look at my stack. I've got some more stuff to go, and hey, I want to welcome Phillip Nelson from New Tech. He's on board. For those of you that don't know what New Tech is the manufacturer of the TriCaster line of products. And we're, of course, using a TriCaster TCDXD850 tonight. And that's what's pushing out the code. We're using a 4-camera setup here. For those of you that haven't seen the live show before, and what's kind of cool about this is I've got a mix of cameras in here. I've got two 16:9 cameras, and I have two 4:3s. So the 4x3 up in the corner is a point tilt zoom camera, and I can actually move it around in the studio if I want to. And so what's cool about the TriCaster is you can go from 4x3 right back into 16:9 and full screen. So it's kind of cool. It puts the black bars on the side when you don't have a 16:9 camera, but also you got a little camera here on the side and then another point tilt zoom over in the corner over there. So great new tech product, not cheap, but boy, it makes the production here go awesome. And I'm actually using the old control surface that went with the regular TriCaster Studio. And what's going to be kind of cool is I'm getting a new control surface, and I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to fit here. But this is a one-man show, and I can do the whole show right from the control surface. I don't have to really do anything else. And if I get good at it, I can actually hit the button without looking down from the camera, but that isn't always the case. So, Phil, thanks for hanging out and have fun at South by Southwest. I know you guys are giving away a TriCaster, so any of you that are going to South by Southwest, Southwest by Southwest, yeah, I said that right. They've got a promotion going on, so all you got to do is go over to the New Tech forums and check it out. So, Phil, I'm assuming you guys are going to be at the show as an exhibitor, yeah? You can if you want to put a note up in the chat, that would be cool. So if you're out there in Austin, definitely check him out and tell him I said to say hello. Okay, let me go ahead here and bounce into our regular content tonight. I got a stack of stuff for you. Huge amount of content to go into. I want to talk just a little bit. I'm not a big Charlie Sheen fan, but Charlie was on Ustream Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific. He started he's calling it Sheen's Corner. And the first show, I think they topped out at like 125,000 viewers, was really bad. I mean, it was really, really bad. And I'm watching this not from just a content perspective, but from a lighting, from an audio, from everything you need to have a great show. And Charlie's got his problems. We probably all know that. We know he's probably got some narcotic issues. Who knows? I don't know. And that's, again, that's my opinion. He probably has some issues, and it's, obvious what's going on in the news with him. But I'm thinking to myself, as I saw what he did or what they did, I was like, oh my God, they need some help. They need a TriCaster. They need some people there that knows how to set up lighting. They need good miking. There's just so much stuff that goes into doing one of these events, and I was just pulling my hair out just from a production standpoint. Now, whatever he was saying on his show was, it was out there, but they really needed some help. And I don't know what kind of gear they were using or lighting, but I know that they were using a Blue Yeti, and everyone was using one mic for it, but it was bad. His second thing was a little bit different, but we'll see what happens with him. But it just goes to show you that without a production crew, doing this stuff is pretty hard when you're doing it live and you're the show. And we obviously seen that Charlie Sheen didn't have his writers for him. He didn't have a big production staff. He didn't have someone saying cut, go, and the recording and the editing and everything that goes along with a big studio. But he definitely could do something if he gets his act together and gets squared away. But I thought this was maybe be a big moment for Ustream, because here you've got really a mainstream guy, and you're seeing more and more of those types of folks coming on. So I'm thinking, boy, this host live streaming stuff has really jumped the shark at this point. You guys have been here for a couple of years already while we're doing the live stuff. And obviously I record late at night in Honolulu, and it doesn't really demand a big live audience. But I've always said that doing the live show was an ends to the means to get the recorded show, because right now the show's being recorded and I get done. I do a couple processes on the video, and it gets bounced to the CDN, and it goes up as a podcast, and then, the whole entire audience has access to it via the Roku Boxy or wherever else they want to consume the content. So there is a great opportunity here for someone that can handle some of these folks that are like Charlie Sheen, that need some expertise. And I just really, I was pounding my head against I just couldn't believe what I was seeing from a quality standpoint. this guy's got the kind of bucks, he could probably write a single check and buy everything in the studio in 15 minutes, which, it's taken me 5 years to accumulate. And, but it is what it is. So anybody, did you guys see what he did? I mean, it was literally, wow. I mean, yeah, it really didn't make a lot of sense, most of it. And, but it is what it is. And you know what? It's new media. You can do whatever you want. And I had to laugh because can we swear? He said, can we swear on the show? And the guy says, yeah, you can. But he says, well, we might lose our sponsors. Even in his current situation, Charlie understands the importance of not using cuss words during a live show because it's going to offend the sponsors. And we've talked about that a lot here throughout the number of years. Of course, we're always producing family safe content here at Geek News Central. All right, enough on the Charlie stuff. Let's move into a topic that came up that was kind of big over the weekend. Was talking about Facebook comments. And I was looking at what TechCrunch was doing and having Facebook comments on their website, and I was, kind of weighing whether or not I would do this experiment and try it on Geek News Central. I thought, well, maybe what a better way to encourage comments. And the thought process that I went through was everyone's using Facebook. Everyone's tied to it. It'd be a great way to kind of maybe spice up the comment section at GNC. And the more I thought about it, I thought it was a great idea. Then a bunch of articles started popping up saying Facebook is killing authenticity. And I got to thinking about that. And TechCrunch loves the new system because they've gotten rid of all the trolls and all the people that make rude comments. But what if you really want to make, and I've done this before, I went to a website and read an article, and I really didn't want to stick my name and really my nose out there and put my real name behind the comment. I wasn't a troll. I wasn't putting something out that was maybe necessarily negative, but at the same time, I wanted to really be able to express myself, and I didn't want to have competitors. I didn't want to have business associates. I didn't want to, there's times that you want to participate in stuff, but you maybe can't use your real name. And with these new comment systems, you are locked in. You're going to, I'd go to TechCrunch or some other site that was running that, and I would say, in order to make a comment, I have to use my Facebook login. It's going to post something on my Facebook wall, I'm sure. And at the same time, it's going to let everybody in the world, the thousands of people that follow me and the people that are, watching my Facebook stuff, they're going to know instantly really deep stuff that maybe I don't want public. And so I think this is maybe true. So what do you guys think? Do you think that you would be more constrained if you were forced to use a Facebook login to make a comment on a website? I'd love to hear you guys' feedback at geeknews@gmail.com. And so far as coming, hey, I'm just trying to watch a chat at the same time here. So, Phillip, if you want to come out to Hawaii, come on out. We'd love to have you. Come on, and have you on the show. You can write it off. So, anyway, what are you guys' thoughts again on that Facebook situation? Would you rather have a place where you can make comments on a website and be semi-anonymous or very public if you want to be? Or do you want to be locked into the Facebook, silo? I don't know. I kind of switched my opinion on this. I don't think I would consider at this time putting Facebook comments on Geek News Central for sure. All right, let's talk a little bit about some hacking that's been going on over on mobilecrunch.com. And actually, I'll bring this article up here on the screen for you to check out. I'll load this in the other browser and bring this up online for you. Choose the right switch. And, yep, we got to flip that. The Google Zoom, not the Google Zoom, the Motorola Zoom is about ready to launch. And, of course, it's going to be running the Honeycomb platform. Well, one of the applications on there is a music app. So what some hackers have done said, let's look at this app and let's see if we can port this over onto an Android phone and get it to work. And what this guy did was he hacked the uh, the Motorola Zoom music application, and somehow it's mysteriously working. There's a server in the cloud that's letting him sync up his music, and he's good to go. So not too bad for a service that hasn't even launched yet, or a tablet that hasn't even launched. So they've got one of the apps uh, dropped over onto an actual Android phone. So I thought that was kind of funny. You just never know what folks are going to hack up next. Now, one thing I've learned over the years and having worked in electronics heavily is that, everyone loves a touch screen. They want to be able to touch something, and being able to use the iPad tablet or even a full screen monitor where you have a touchability, that's all fun and cool. It's a great thing to be able to do. But Gizmodo has an article about a Russian nuclear power plant that has over 10,000 buttons, and not a single one of them are attached to a computer screen. And it talks about with this facility being built completed in the 90s, definitely in the 1990s, there was already technology available where touchscreens would work. And matter of fact, even long before late 80s, mid 80s, there was the ability to do touchscreen stuff. So here's the reasoning behind this particular power plant having everything is on a manual switch. It's because really the factor is that humans are more inclined to want to touch something and hear it click and see a reaction on a light or something than touching a screen. And also when you're touching a switch or touching a button or something, there's that physicality of actually making that happen. So it's a pretty cool review by Christopher Mimes, who pointed out these, the reasoning behind the mindset of the way this particular control room was set up, was specifically because of the human, you put your hand on something, okay, I've confirmed I'm there, let's engage and let that happen. Whereas at a computer screen, I think we all kind of figure this out. You can get close to the screen. If you get too close without even touching the screen, the switch will switch. What if that wasn't the switch you wanted to switch? Did that make sense? So anyway, what do you like? Do you like buttons, or do you like being able to touch a screen? Now, you're living in the iPad generation now, so we all like, we all like to touch the iPad, but we're not running a critical system that, has fuel, has nuclear fuel, and can cause great damage and, melt through the bottom of the planet if the wrong switch is flipped. So, anyway, kind of some cool stuff on human influences and human behaviors. All right, have you heard about this new watch? This is pretty cool. And this is another article over on Gizmodo. And when I show you this, no one wears a watch anymore, right? I don't wear a watch. What I have, I've got my mobile device, right? We all see very few people wearing a watch today. This one, might actually make you consider doing that. So this watch, and if you watch this video, I'll have the link up in the show notes. You guys can go over and watch it yourself. It's only about a minute long, but it's got a built-in watch. It's got built-in a Bluetooth, so it can act as a Bluetooth headset. It actually has a USB stick built into it, so you can pop the stick out and actually put stuff on the stick for a memory standpoint. And this is pretty cool. It really is. You got a place to adjust the volume there and a bunch of other functions as well. And it'll do Skype calls along with a variety of other stuff. It'll actually connect via Wi-Fi when you're near a Wi-Fi hotspot. So this thing is pretty cool. I don't know what the price on this is going to be, but this looks like kind of a little straight out of Star Trek type of device, and should be a lot of fun. But very clever design, and definitely a good geek gift, if nothing else. And I'm going to order one because it's going to be a top, people are going to say, what is that? What are you wearing? And then you're going to, and that works good in social situations or in business situations, kind of an icebreaker. You have wearing something cool like that. Just like my little digital name tag that I've got here that I'm going to be wearing at events and so forth. So pretty cool stuff. I have the link up in the show notes for you. Okay, today is 135 years ago. Alexander Graham Bell was awarded a patent for what would eventually become known as the telephone. and the first sketch of the telephone was drawn up. So 135 years ago today. Of course, there's much controversy whether or not Alexander Graham Bell was actually the first person to invent the telephone. There was some stuff that had happened in Europe. So, that, he is supposed to be, quote unquote, in history standpoint, the person that's been credited with that. But we know now really that there was some folks that came before him. But obviously he perfected it. And there's quite a story behind really how the telephone took off. It's a great read. I think I've shared some of those links with you in the past. And that really talks about the whole process that really from the day this idea was started to the point where it really took off. And but anyway, I have a link up in the show notes for you to check that out. All right, Firefox 4 is almost here. And if you haven't yet loaded Firefox 4, you're going to want to do so. I'm using Chrome tonight for the show, but you definitely want to load this up. This is over at Ace Adulter's website at weblogs.mozillazine.org. And it does. It looks awesome. I'm running it here as in a beta standpoint as well. One thing I love about running Firefox 4 is that the HTML5 support for WebM video format, which we're supporting in the new version of PowerPress, is working just fine. But this thing looks amazing, just from an aesthetic standpoint. If you've got a little bit of an older Windows machine and you haven't updated the graphics drivers lately, they've been having some challenges with version 4. If you've got older drivers and haven't updated, you need to probably go and look and see if you can find newer drivers for your computer, primarily because they actually have a blacklist of specific video cards and even rev numbers that are not working well and causing the browser to crash. So I actually updated my drivers for another reason a couple of days ago, but I've been using Firefox 4, and it is, specifically ties to the GPU processor within your actual graphics card. It uses that processor in there to really render graphics faster and have better performance for the browser. So if you're running into a problem with Firefox 4 and it crashing, upgrade the graphics driver in your PC, okay? All right, next thing up is an article over on The Consumerist, and this actually, wow, I actually get to talk about Hawaii. The federal investigators are looking at some TSA agents here who allegedly failed to screen luggage. Now, what you do in Hawaii when you check in at, I wonder if I'm going to get in TSA for talking about how to check in Honolulu. When you get to the airport and you unload your bags, you have to take your checked luggage and you have to run it through a Department of Agriculture scanner. They actually, just two older guys, sit at this machine, and I don't think I've ever seen them stop a bag from going through it, and they just run it through this machine. I don't know what it really does. And again, this is like years and years now of traveling through Honolulu International. I've never seen them touch a bag, at least these agricultural agents. I think they just get paid and look at the screen because they can. But anyway, you get your bags, you go into the check-in counter, you check in. They don't take your bags there. You bag drag one more time to another area where you hand off your bag to a TSA guy, and they supposedly scan and check your bags. Now, I do know that every once in a while I'll get one of those little TSA tags in my bag from the agents, and largely I get it in my electronic bags when I'm shipping Pelican cases or something like that with me. That's where I see those stuck in. I very rarely see them stuck in my suitcase. But KITV Honolulu reporting that alleged negligence went on for as long as 4 months. The feds suspect the TS agents were required to open luggage in order to check for explosive, just marked the never opened bags as having been screened. So, taking a little aloha, taking it easy. So, not good. And some people are probably going to lose their job over this. So we'll see what happens. But kind of scary, considering this is where I hail from and I fly out of that airport, 15 to 20 times a year. Now, if you've got a PlayStation 3 that's been, if it's been modded and you got banned, well, it appears that some hackers are claiming they figured out how to unban PlayStation 3s that have been banned by Sony. So not a lot of information about this yet. This is just breaking today. So I don't know if they've actually got a full-blown hack on this, but this is over at megagames.com, and it talks about the how they're, some of the processes they're using. I have this link up for you in the show notes. If you've got a PlayStation 3 that's been bricked, maybe a way back in to being able to use your PlayStation 3 online, okay? Now let's talk about some First Amendment issues. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear an important copyright case. It's going to review basically First Amendment versus copyright issues. Now, what this really boils down to, and Larry Lessig is involved. Those of you that have followed the show and those of you that are online a lot know about Larry Lessig, and he had a number of years ago created a YouTube video that basically was him doing some stuff around the house, taking some video of his daughter, and he intermixed some music. And basically, he said he tried and he went through the whole process of trying to license the music, finding out what it would take to be able to use it legally, and trying to claim fair use. And ultimately, he found out, and as many other people have found out, and sometimes incorrectly, that when you put up a video on YouTube or another place and it's got some commercial music in it, you're subject for takedown and copyright violation. Well, First Amendment, there's some fair use issues here. If I want to play a little clip of something, I should be able to do so and be able to claim fair use. Now, I'm going to play a piece later that has me a little bit concerned that I might get flagged by YouTube. It's basically a piece that was played on Discovery this morning, on the Discovery Space Shuttle this morning. And I'm just a little bit worried if I play that, whether or not that's going to get flagged, because they do a sampling of your media and be able to have logarithms to check. But anyway, long story short here is that this new case, which is went through the courts here recently, it's Golan versus Holder, and it involves a key question about copyright laws, and is very narrowly focused. The Supreme Court has decided to see this. I'm not going to go into the full details of the case. That would take probably an hour in itself. But this is the second case that the Supreme Court has agreed to really review and hear arguments on copyright and First Amendment issues. Now, what has really happened here in recent years is the Supreme Court has basically said, hey, we've got a set copyright law, and it's up to Congress to make changes, and they've almost rejected every case that's involving copyright to be heard, and talking about infringement and First Amendment rights. So we will see where this goes. Now, I don't foresee a positive outcome on this based on the previous rulings, but we'll never know. Maybe the court will decide, First Amendment over copyright. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And that article was over on techdirt.com. I'll have a link up in the show notes for you. Now, you got to love scientists. I know some real, I've been lucky in my life that I have been able to be exposed to individuals that have IQs that are like off the chart. And, you get a PhD by association by just hanging out with these guys and listening to them and hearing about their theories. And, some of these guys spend lifetimes of work, a whole lifetime, looking at one problem. And you just got to admire their dedication. Well, an MIT cognitive science by the name of Deb Roy started a project 5 years ago. And this is what he did. His newborn son, when he brought his son home from the hospital, he started to record family movement and speech inside the home. And since then, he's collected about 200 terabytes of raw data of his son's progression in speech over the past 5 years. And he's created some videos that talk about linguistic adaptation and what kids do and how they're learning. And he's come up with this whole, basically, case study on how kids learn to talk. And this is amazing. Now, one of the quotes he makes here on this is, for example, when you hear your kids say, "Mom," what do you say back to them? "Mom. Mom, you said mom." So, you go back and forth, or dad, you said dada. You go back and you say that to them 2 or 3 times, and that reinforces with the kid what they just said. And over time, then they start building up more sentences, and you're providing feedback. So really delved into the behavior that we as parents and caregivers do with our kids when we're providing them feedback from when they're talking. So it's important. I've always um, told my wife and told my kids, and we've had lots of babies through the house. I've got 4 children, obviously, is always talk to the kids like you don't talk baby talk. Talk to them like a person. And I think it's paid dividends. My kids always talked much earlier than a lot of other kids did. So don't talk baby talk to your kids, folks. Talk real. Talk to them like they're they're real human beings. So just talk to them. It will help them develop their language skills. All right. Fortune today had an article about wireless providers. And of course, we all know that when you send an SMS text message, it's very, very expensive. And a lot of people are trying to figure out how to really kind of bypass what's going on and get around some of these exorbitant costs. Well, Facebook is really looking at that as well. And they want to be able to get some sort of texting going in within the ecosystem of Facebook. So they purchased a company called Beluga. And the app that this company creates aims to bring messaging under the umbrella of data plans and features group messaging, pictures, and video messaging integration with other apps. So what the goal here is Facebook is trying to undermine now not only, the who you're allowed to have for an advertiser in your apps and so forth, but they're trying to undermine what's going on in the in traditional texting world. So kind of an interesting move by Facebook. We've talked about in the show in previous years about cell phone jammers and how they are illegal in the United States to be used. And we know that the federal prison systems, especially in California, have been really heavy lobbying the FCC in order to start to use jammers within prisons because of the large number of illegal phones that prisoners have. Think about that. Phones in prison, can't they just find these things by shaking cells down? But the number of cell phones found in prisons in 2009 jumped to 7,000 as compared to 1,400 phones being found in prisons since in 2007. So in 2010, it jumped even higher by prison officials finding 10,761 phones. And they're really pushing hard now. They're saying that a lot of criminal activity is continuing when prisoners are, inside the institutions, and they're not being able to, people are calling, because if you call on a prison phone, it's recorded. We've heard Lindsay Lohan and all these other idiots that get into prison and call and cry to their mamas and confess to the crimes that they've done. I'm not saying that Lindsay Lohan's committed a crime, but other people have talked, and basically got convicted on their own stuff, kind of out of their own between their two lips. See if I can screw this up anymore. But anyway, the measure passed in the Senate in California, but not in the U.S. Senate, but it did not pass in the House. And so it hasn't become law, and they're really pushing on this. So if you think it's important for prisons to be able to block cell phone calls, give a call to your legislature and let them know that you support, legislation that would allow prison officials to block cell phones within the penitentiary system. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes on that. All right, here we're going to have a new iPad coming out, and I'm sure all of us have mastered the iPad, those of us that have them, but PC World has come up with 10 tips for mastering the iPad, and I learned a couple of things here on the iPad that I didn't know. I was like, you can do that? And I grabbed my iPad, and I played. Wow. So, anyway, I have this link up in the show notes. I'll let you guys go through. Send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com, voicemail hotline 619-342-7365, and let me know, did you learn something from those 10 tips? Okay, moving on here. I just talked about it here a few seconds ago, but Facebook has basically told all app developers no Google AdSense ads and no Amazon ads within your applications. So the developers are not happy. There is a revolt taking place within the Facebook messaging boards. It's not pretty. Once again, here you have Apple taking their 30%. And now you got Facebook telling developers where and who they can use to make money with advertising within their applications. I'm telling you, all these silos, it's all about control. That's what I love about what we've done with our app is that, especially our plugin, is that there's no control. It's basically we're giving control back to the media creator. We're letting them no longer have to put stuff on YouTube or in Blip. You have all this stuff, self-contained ecosystem. It's really important. It really, really is. And you go on Facebook, you play by their rules, but on our own websites, we have to continue to move towards basically self-control and self-destination. All right, if you haven't done your taxes yet, you still have time. And if you are living on your iPad, you can download TurboTax 2010 to your iPad and file your taxes through your iPad. Now, I would caution you, make sure that you check this out. But you can download it for $13. H&R Block has one as well. So a variety of ways to do your taxes. I have an accountant that does mine. I just go in and review it and cry and sign a check to him and the federal government. But if you want to do your taxes yourself, you always do yours, you can do it on your iPad, okay? Pretty cool story coming out of what really is helping parents. A individual who had didn't have a lot of money, wasn't really able to get in and see a doctor on a regular basis. His son had developed a rash, and he was concerned about it. So he took a photo of this rash and posted it up on Facebook and asked for people to comment on it. And a doctor, a family physician, saw the image and recognized that the young man had a symptom of acute lymphatic leukemia. And the young man was able to, or the boy was able to get treatment, and he has a 75% chance of surviving. So here we see social media potentially saving a young man's life or young boy's life. So, it's just like me. I told you guys I had this little spot on my arm, and I went in and had the doc take a biopsy on it, and everything turned out good. But it just goes to show you that with the power of the internet now, you can almost, no matter what your financial situation is, you can get some advice. Now, don't take the advice from a person online over that of a physician. I'm going to say that straight up. If you think something's wrong, get to a doctor. And but it is kind of cool that they were able to make this bridge, and the father found, hey, my son's got a very serious problem, and they were able to get him in and get him on chemo. All right, I just got to play this. I have to. I can't help myself. If the copyright police come, I'm sorry. This is one that just has to be played. Let me. It's about a minute long. Let me turn up the audio on this one channel so you can hear this. Check this out. All right, here we go.
Space, the final frontier.
These have been the voyages of the Space Shuttle Discovery. Her 30-year mission, to seek out new science, to build new outposts, to bring nations together on the final frontier, to boldly go and do what no spacecraft has done before.
Okay, so I'll stop this. They just finished playing the thing to Star Trek here. Now, was that cool of Shatner to make that recording that they woke the Discovery crew up with this morning? Was that totally cool or what? So he changed the words, obviously, to the Star Trek opening theme and woke the crew up. So Captain T. Kirk made the wake up for Discovery. Discovery's scheduled to land on Wednesday, weather permitting, at Kennedy Space Center. And this is, of course, the last flight for Discovery, and she's going to be going to the Smithsonian, basically Space Center. I think they're actually going to be taking it to the I don't know if it's actually going into DC or if it's going to go to the space portion out by what's the airport? Dulles. Or is it called Reagan now or whatever they call it? Anyway, out by Dulles. And so we'll see where they're actually going to park this thing ultimately. But very cool stuff. Hopefully they have a basically a safe flight back and landing at Kennedy Space Center. All right, moving on here. Right now, there seems to be this resurgence of Made in America. And there was an interesting project done here recently where so folks tried to outfit a home with 100% American made. I think it was an ABC special. And they had one heck of a time. But it appears that people are a little bit worried about stuff coming out of China so far as, the quality and potential chemicals and all the other stuff that goes along with lead and everything that they're worried about with products coming out of China. And there appears to be a bit of a resurgence of American companies that are trying to become innovative and start building more products at home. Of course, a little more expensive. But I think that the story is really telling here. In 2002, the average wage per hour in China was 50 cents. In 2008, the average per hourly wage in China was $1.25. So, it's pretty hard to beat that as a American producer, but they're trying. So what do you guys think? Do you think America has a chance of getting back in the game by ramping up our industrial machine again and start becoming a country of, where we're making stuff instead of importing stuff? Love to hear your feedback, geeknews@gmail.com. Hey, over on ours, there's a great article by Woz talking about educators. He told educators, be brave, use new technology. And I love this article. It's a great write-up by Woz. It's not a great write-up by Woz. It's a great write-up by the author of this, but it's a great it's great coverage of what Woz was saying to Dr. Bill Rankin at the ACU Connected Summit, whatever this summit is. But anyway, I read through this, and he makes sense. All this stuff that teachers should be doing and using technology, blah blah blah. But in Hawaii, my kids are lucky to get to a computer lab once every 2 weeks, and they're working on computers that are 10 years old in many cases. And they're not using technology even in the high schools. I know in many high schools, students are taking laptops and writing notes on laptops, and but in Hawaii, it just doesn't work. Half the classrooms are not even wired for AC, let alone 20 computers. So I don't know how it is where you live, but we have to get to the point where we can bring the technology into the schools and actually have it used. Teachers are going to use it. But, the infrastructure, it just sucks, at least here. I mean, it's horrible. There's a few schools that have been upgraded, and they're lucky. But they are in a very, they're in the minority here in this state. And the teachers want to, but they can't. Is it the same where you live? And I know the military here has been very big on getting older computers reconditioned, and they turn them into the schools, and the schools can reuse them. But still, by the time the government gets done with most of these computers, they're 6, 7, 8 years old, and that comes with its own issues. All right, let's go ahead. And by the way, I did Langley. Yes. I hope you don't send me a picture of your rash. No, I don't want to see that. That was from the chat room. Oh my gosh. Please keep that to yourself. TMI. All right, 6 everyday things that happen strangely in space. Number 1, water boils in a big bubble. It doesn't boil the same as on Earth. So pretty cool. They've got pictures of this. Flames are spears. So they actually got a picture of a flame in space. Bacteria grow more and are more deadly. For you beer lovers out there, you take up a 6-pack with you. You drink that 6-pack, you can't burp. So an Australian company has concocted a brew that is going to allow you to drink beer that will be weak in carbonation. Ugh. So anyway, Astronauts for Hire is looking into whether the beer will be safe for consumption on future commercial spacecraft. You know how much it would cost to take a can of beer in space? It's like a pound, right? Or 16 ounces. What is that? That's like $3,000 to lift into space. They're not going to be taking any beer in space anytime soon. Please. Well, I think we talked about it on the last show, but the NASA Glory climate change satellite never made it to orbit. They think it punched in somewhere close to Antarctica, but $425 million flushed down the Pacific Ocean. So anyway, they're going to build another one, I guess, but $425 million gone. All right, in the biggest space news of the day, and this was actually broke on Fox, and they got the exclusive on this. Kind of a weird place to break this news, but claim of alien life in meteorites. A recent paper published by NASA claims the discovery evidence of fossil bacteria in a rare subclass of carbonaceous meteorite. The claims are pretty extraordinary, say scientists, but they've had huge review on this. Over 5,000 scientists were given preliminary results on this, were able to look at it. Basically, they're seeing fossilized bacteria on a cross-section of a specific type of meteorite, which are only 9 in the entire world, 9 of these meteorites. But they say, hey, there is bacteria within these rocks, and I believe it. And, you know, we are totally out to lunch if we think that we're alone here. You know, the billions and billions of stars. No, give me a break. So, should this come as a surprise? No, it shouldn't. Cassini, moving on, obviously. And these articles are on Universe Today. I'm going to bring this up so that you guys can actually see it. Those of you that are watching. This is a pretty cool picture by Cassini. Cassini was lined up on a pass to actually go by Saturn, where the rings of the planet were flat. Basically, they're almost perpendicular to the spacecraft, and pretty amazing picture. Someone that's a science buff out there, how thick are the actual rings of Saturn? Do they know? Are they a mile, 10 miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles thick? You know, because Saturn's pretty doggone big. So this view here, you know, gives you some representation. But pretty cool stuff here. It really, really is. They probably tell deeper in this article. I actually probably answer my own question in this, but I didn't take time to read it. I just saw the picture and thought it was cool. Let's move back into tech a little bit here. And I've got a lot of stuff. I'm not going to make it to the end tonight. BitTorrent legend Supernova.org returns as a video portal. Many of you remember Supernova from the early days as being a peer-to-peer site, but it is no longer that. It is now the come back alive as a video portal. So if you want to go over and check that out, you can. I hope nobody fell for this, but it appears that a fake RIAA/MPAA BitTorrent scam happened in early 2010 that netted the scammers about, from what I can read in this, and I don't know if this is dollars. Let me look if they actually look. Yeah, they netted them $283,000. Essentially what happened was the malware, basically when it was on your computer, it looked for a torrent file. And it used the file name to generate a fake copyright infringement report warning the user that their offense could result in 5 years in prison and $25,000 fine. And this just popped up on your website when you were using it, or not on your website, on your computer. And what they asked you to do was to click on a button to settle the case in pre-trial. And apparently 583 people did and paid on an average of $487 each to settle with a Russian company. People, idiots, give me a break. But this went on for a while, and people paid someone they didn't need to pay, and average settled the case $483. Amazing. What a way to scam some money out of some people. That's the ultimate deal. All right, here. Also, Fox. Now let's talk about DMCA takedowns. There's a site out there called Chilling Effects. And what YouTube does is when YouTube receives a DMCA takedown notice, they oblige by the takedown notice, and there's some processes that companies have to go through to do that. And what Google does is then they send that DMCA takedown notice request, and they send that over to Chilling Effect, and it's inventoried and put in a database file, which you can go over and look at on the website. Well, Fox requested a takedown from Google of some Fox videos, and specifically some movie files. And at the same time that they did that, they also did a DMCA takedown notice against Chilling Effect for listing the location of the files that were taken down. So here you have the group that was set up to monitor what YouTube was actually taking down, and you have the movie industry asking them to remove the actual DMCA takedown request from the actual site that's doing the reporting. Oh, man. You know, it just goes on and on and on and on. Oh, just crazy stuff. All right, this next one. Hey, gadget freaks, check this out. This is over on Gizmo. You know, they say the cell phone, besides your keyboard, is probably one of the most nasty devices that you have on your possession. Well, they have a UV cell phone sanitizer, and it apparently projects a ultraviolet light onto your phone, which kills or eliminates 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. And it's coming soon. They haven't announced the price yet, but you know, anything that is going to claim this better have some proof behind it. You're going to sell me a device that's going to sanitize my phone and claim 99.9% of the bacteria and stuff is going to be killed. I think I would I'd buy one of these, put my phone in it, let us do this thing, and get a petri dish and do a swab and have a lab look at it, see what it really did. Think this is going to work? A UV light, the cell blaster. So I'm sure we're going to see these in cell phone. Hey, want me to clean your phone? It'd be like cleaning jewelry. Hey, can I take your gold ring and the diamond on it and clean it up in my chemical solution over here? I have no idea what's in there. Who lets people? You never go to a jewelry store and they want to clean your jewelry? Yeah, that's fun, but I don't know what's in that solution. I really don't. Okay. How many of you have quit going to a business or quit doing online business with a company because of the way you've been treated? I'd love to hear from all of you. It's a good story over on lifehacker.com talking about basically a gentleman who had a run-in with some folks at Dots Cupcakes. And I know this is not very I have never had a Dots cupcake, but everyone tells me they're the bomb. But anyway, long story short goes, he was a regular customer, didn't spend a lot of money there, but basically was really given a hard time. And he basically said, I'm not going back. They don't respect me as a customer. So what has that happened to you guys? Have you guys been in a business and got treated so poorly that you never went back, even though it's something that maybe you really liked? I know that's happened to me before. Love to hear your feedback at geeknews@gmail.com. All right. Okay, let's talk about Sorensen Squeeze. I told you guys about it on the last show. Man, I spent some time playing with this thing. And my credit card is $799 lighter today. I found out as I used it more and more that the process was really good. And here's what really sold me on this. You guys know I was trying to I had a process so far to come out of the TriCaster with my very high quality 1080i.avi. I drop it onto the machine that I'm going to create the M4V file on. I would run it through a process, and really from the start of that till the end, probably the TriCaster probably took 30 minutes to do the encoding. After I did my about 5 minutes of editing, and then the encoder probably took another 30 minutes. So about an hour to do the process to get the video ready to go up on the web. Well, since we added WebM, I needed to be able to do two M4Vs and a WebM, and and really I was handling the files too much. So what I've done, and boy, I'm going really long here. I'm going to have to cut this short soon. But what I did, I found with the sorts and squeeze is it's got a processor, a batch processor in it. So basically, you have it watch a folder. So as soon as the TriCaster gets done processing my video, it's going to drop it into the specific folder. It'll save it there. And then once it's saved, the sorts and squeeze will automatically detect it, and it will automatically create the 3 video files that I want it to, that I've got preset up in some presets. Well, as soon as the first one gets done encoding, it automatically starts FTPing it to my CDN. So before, I used to have to kind of do this multi-process to get this stuff off and move it into the CDN. Now, tonight when I get done with the show, I'll start the encode. Sorensen will be running, and really that'll be it. I won't have to do anything more. Once the encode is done with the TriCaster, actually I'll sit here till the TriCaster gets done and put the TriCaster back in replay mode. But everything else from there forward, for the video goes, is going to be automatically handled. Now, you guys know I'm all about processes and making things easy and streamlining. I'm going to be able to get to bed at 45 minutes sooner. This is going to be awesome. So for me, I really kind of justified the expense on this encoder by really what it's going to gain me back. And I'm really excited about it. Tonight's the first trial, so hopefully by the time I wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, this will be all done. And I'll be able to update the weblog, and everything will be posted. So I'm excited about that. We'll see how it goes. I'll report to you on the next show. Hey, Andrew, one of our writers from the UK, did an article today about the HP Omni Pro 110. It's a new self-contained PC out by HP. That's up on the on geeknewscentral.com. Check that article out. And I'm going to blast through this stuff here. Any of you get a notice from Google that your Android phone had been hacked? Well, the Google basically made an announcement over the weekend that they removed those malicious applications from the Android market. Then they're going to remotely update the affected devices, which was like 243,000 phones. They're going to email you when they do that, and then they're going to install a patch. One thing that can't be done is the underlying issue requires the carrier to actually do an update to the phone on the firmware. And that will have to come later. But at least they're going to clean your phones if you were affected. So anyway, that's from Google. I just got to show you this. This is weird. Those of you that are not watching the video or just listening to the audio, go to the show notes and look for Geminoid DK. This is going to freak you out. Let me actually bring this up. You know, the Japanese have been building robots, right? It kind of look kind of humanish. Well, this one is trippy. I got it playing here for those of you that are watching. And let me bring this full screen. This is as close to real as I have seen. Now, they've got some other videos that are even more bizarre. And it doesn't talk, but it just sits there and moves its eyeballs and looks around and turns its head. And it's a little jerky yet. But when you see this thing or this robot, you're going to be like, whoa, this is getting good. And this is not by a Japanese company. But when you see it, you're like, holy cow. Link will be up in the show notes, of course. Western Digital dropped $4.3 billion to acquire Hitachi. So I'm not a big Western Digital hard drive fan, and they're buying Hitachi. And you know, Hitachi's made pretty good hard drives up to this point. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to have to be forced to buying all Seagates from here on out. But boy, having Western Digital have control of Hitachi scares me to death. But $4.3 billion. All right, let's talk about the Samsung 950. I love these monitors. You guys saw them. We covered it at CES in detail. These are absolutely gorgeous. They are a TV/monitor. They're not OLED, but they looked as clear as OLED. They're just being released in Korea right now, and they're going to be priced at about $800. I'm going to tell you, when you see these in the store, you're going to want to spend $800. and you're going to want to use it as a TV and as a monitor. They are not OLED, but they are simply stunning. It was the best monitor I saw at CES. Okay, it really, really was. So you can check out the 950 video interview I did, and that link is up. You just do a search on Geek News Central. Hey, the JVC 3D camera is now available, $1,700. They have reduced the price from what it was originally going to be, is $2,000. So JVC one is out on the street. We'll wait for Sony for their announcement. Theirs is going to come in at about the same price too, as well. Big news out of from Bloomberg. Microsoft is supposedly going to pay Nokia about $1 billion to make Windows phones. So I don't think they want that to get out, but Nokia is going to get a cash cow of $1 billion for 5-year licensing, or 5-year deal with the folks at Microsoft. All right, the next thing we're going to cover is am I still on the air? The screen went black for a second. That's weird. Okay. Apple adds iTunes home sharing and expands AirPlay functionality in iOS 4.3. This is something I missed. If you have an iPad or a mobile phone and you have iTunes installed, you're now going to be able to access your library via Wi-Fi via those devices. So good news on that. That was something I missed. Obviously, I'm blasting through here because I'm trying to wrap the show, folks. If you're a Sam's member and you want that Motorola Zoom, appears they're going to sell the Wi-Fi edition only by $539. Yes, $539, which undercuts the iPad 2 pricing. So have that available for you. Have you seen the ad that Microsoft did with Asus on the upcoming Triple E slate? It's really done well. It really is. And I'll have a link up an eHome upgrade where you actually can see the advertising. Very compelling. It's up on YouTube. They did a good job, and it really kind of says, hey, I can be a PC and I can be a tablet. But it's all about the apps, folks. They got to get the app game going. If they don't, it won't matter because Apple continue to clean their clock. Also, as a warning, if you're making anonymous comments on websites and you are essentially saying stuff about individuals that would result in a lawsuit, beware. A Indianapolis Star newspaper was ordered by a judge to reveal the IP addresses of anonymous posters. On a specific case, it's going to trial on, or actually this guy's trying to get these people's names so he can go after them for defamation. Be careful what you're saying out there about people. Be willing to back it up in court because judges are now forcing sites to hand over IP address information. Geek News Central's IP stuff gets deleted about every third day, so they want it. Sorry, that runs in a batch file. Those logs are gone. Firefox. Oh, we talked about Firefox 4 crashing already. I think that's all I want to cover on that. Skype is going to be adding advertising to their desktop app as a way to kind of supplement Skype's income. So you're going to see that for UK and America customers. They're not going to put it in the, it's only going to be in the dashboard. It's not going to be in the actual vertical Skype application at all. If you use, moving quickly here, obviously, if you use Speedtest, speedtest.net overhauled their website. Pretty cool look and feel to the new, I actually saw it the first on my mobile device. I was like, whoa, look at that. Definitely check out the new speedtest.net website, and they did a nice job on their update. And last but not least, Android has edged out BlackBerry and iPhone in a recent ComScore survey. They're saying right now that Google has 31.2% of the market, RIM has 30.4%, and Apple 24.7%. So for you Android lovers out there, they have taken an appreciable lead here. All right, I have an audio file I have to play. This is an audio comment that came in from one of our longtime listeners. You guys will recognize his voice when we talk, when I play this. And you guys will know. Those of you longtime listeners of the show, you'll be able to hear this. So let me go ahead and start this off. I'll crank up the audio here for him.
Hey, Todd. Brian in Brooklyn here. How you been?
Hey, Brian. Good.
A couple times recently, you've spoken about this universal service fund charge on your phone bill.
Yeah.
Well, with everyone so gung-ho about cutting taxes, I don't hear these sweetheart corporate welfare funds being mentioned. They don't seem to be on the chopping block.
True.
How is it that a private company can collect a tax, or rather a fee that's disguised as a tax? It's payable to them and doesn't go to the government. They collect and manage it with the promise that they will use it for the greater common good. And even if they did spend it on what they promised, it's still an investment into their enterprise. Not a bad deal. Kind of a win-win. I'll tell you what, why don't you, you should send a couple lawyers to D.C.
I should.
Yeah, you should hire a couple lawyers to lobby for a podcast fee you can include in your hosting service charge.
Yeah.
This fee could be explained as a, well, you could explain it as, it's for handicapped, wheelchair-bound children who want a podcast, and this is to help provide the bandwidth and hosting cost. You can call it the universal hosting fee. And of course, you don't have to spend it on these things, but if you choose to, you'll be increasing your hosting capacity. Just instruct your lawyers. Senator, I represent the Podcast Hosting Providers of America. I have a little envelope for your campaign. But before you make that deposit, let's discuss this federal mandate to include this fee into the service charges. A couple months ago, you were talking about net neutrality, and you said that government should stay out of business.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm all for it. Couldn't agree more. Government should stay out of business, with one little caveat. That is, only if business could manage to stay out of government.
True.
Can't have it one way and not the other.
That's true.
I think we can all agree that the original principle of net neutrality was a good thing.
I agree.
But big business hijacks the regulatory agencies, rewrite the rules to benefit them, therefore redefining net neutrality. And come on, the regulatory agencies, I mean, they just end up as an extension of the corporations, protecting their bottom line more than they protect the consumers. All right, tech. Yeah, tech. I see here that looks like for a while now, Adobe Audition has been in beta for Mac.
It's true.
I'm just wondering if you tried it, or if you would consider recording your audio on a Mac now that you can do it with Audition.
It's got some issues.
But I was calling you for a recommendation. You know these mashup videos you see on YouTube?
Yep.
How would you approach that? I mean, if you want to grab some Flash, edit it, and then put some different audio on top. Mac, PC, I don't care. Doesn't matter. And I thought if you didn't have to convert it, if you could do it all as Flash, I mean, that would be a big time saver, wouldn't it? I appreciate any advice on that, any ideas. All right, aloha.
Hey, take care. And you know something? You are welcome to do a show here on Geek News Central anytime. What? You want to do a regular spot? Come on down. We ought to talk. I need your chops on the show. I really do. You have got a voice that needs to be on Geek News Central. You have to come and be a host here and have a show. The door is open anytime you do. Let's talk. Now, so far as the Flash and doing a mashup, there is a way to get the actual MP4 or M4V or a file off of YouTube. You have to do a little Google searching for that. That way you actually get a file that you can more easily work with. Or you just download the Flash and you convert it into a file format that works a little better than actually using the FLV to edit. I've never really edited an FLV that I've downloaded that someone has already compressed. It's really kind of the backwards way to go, because you end up with a compressed file, then you're trying to do some editing, then you're recompressing it. I don't know if that will really work so well, but I don't know. Maybe someone in the audience will have some better ideas. Again, I don't work in Flash. I work in M4V and WebM. So love to hear your anyone else in the audience's feedback on if we can help them out here on doing some mashup stuff. But doors open. Once you'd be a host here on the show or a host on a show here at Geek News Central, doors open. Love to have you. Okay, let's go ahead and I got just a couple of emails to get into. We are way long tonight. I want to thank Jim for his link to the NASA William Shatner Star Trek thing with Discovery. Very, very cool. Thanks for that. Got an email here from Tim. He said, it's like a movie star in the soup kitchen line. And this is basically about a millionaire who was arrested. Yes, a millionaire arrested using a stolen credit card. Paid for some pizzas. Disgusting. Really disgusting. All right, then we like BBC content. The BBC iPlayer is going global. This is from Trucker Tom. And it costs those of us that don't live in the UK about £73 a year to license the iPlayer. That's actually cheaper. So what's up with that? It's cheaper than what folks in the UK pay. They pay £145 a year for the right to be able to get their television programming. So the BBC iPlayer is available for those of us here in the United States and throughout the rest of the world. Again, for £73 a year. So someone in the UK that's listening to the show, let me know. Let me know if this is worth it, okay? And actually, having cut the cord here, it might be a good alternative. If I get BBC News and all that stuff, might be worth the money. I got an email here from another email from Trucker Tom talking about Air and Space exclusive. Oh, yeah, this is about the NASA scientists claiming evidence of alien life on a meteorite. We've covered that, Tom. Thanks for that very much. Also got an email here from Andrew. Say, hey, Todd, I heard your Excel request in OS 10. You might try this. Choose window, new window from menu. That will get you a second instance of the Excel doc that's open in front. You can then place the windows side by side or one on top of. I want to run Excel in two different apps. I don't want to put them side by side, but I know what you're talking about there. I've been able to do that. But thanks for that, Andrew. Appreciate it. My longtime friend Jim, has been a hardcore Mac user for years. And I don't want to read his whole email here. He said, Todd, and this is the title of his subject. I might be switching to Windows. He says, Todd, I suppose you must have just sprayed Cheerios over your screen. But I'm serious. Not likely very soon, but I'm fairly ticked about Apple's position regarding the Manhattan Declaration app for the iPhone. I still have my iBook and that I had from the desert, and I have our iMac from just a couple of years ago. So I really don't need a new desktop, maybe a laptop. That's just not in my budget yet. But I thought you should know, considering our past discussion, if Apple should reconsider that, I'll be making another trip to their Kool-Aid Punch Bowl. I have no idea what my buddy's talking about. Can someone please tell me what was going on with the Manhattan Declaration app? I have no clue. Jim, please give me more info. But this guy is hardcore. Him and I did Mac PC battles back in the day. We went to the desert together and served together in the military. Oh, my God. For him to say that he might be switching to Windows, something just froze over. Last email here is from, actually a couple more, from Trucker Tom. He's talking about full body scanners in Texas. Have that link up in the show notes. Thanks for Tom putting the embed up on fogview.com. What else have we got? That's it. I think that's all in comments. We're like crazy long. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. It's been fun. It's been fantastic. Be back here Thursday, same show time at 8 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. And actually, I'm going to be appearing on the OTT show after. So we'll have kind of an after show after the show on Thursday. So if you really want to stay up late, you can do so. But geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. Call in your comments. Love to hear from you. It's been my pleasure to bring a show. Until next time, everyone take care and aloha.